Are you going to give me a cue?
It's good.
Oh, okay.
I played an evil reindeer.
I always wanted to play pretend. Soupy Sales School of Hangers and Drama.
Well, I actually enjoy Hurt Feelings.
There's a TV series called Supergirl that had a Superman. I didn't even get to read for that. Or they're scared of me, one of the two.
Okay.
What the hell's a monologue?
Is that Julie Andrews?
I'm passionate about that.
Show must go on.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Michael Fleming. We are here at Inside the Eclipse Studio. This is an ongoing series where we talk to actors and entertainers who live in the Santa Clarita Valley. We're going to be interviewing a wonderful actor, Brad Sergi, and it's a pleasure to see you today. Brad, how are you?
Good, good. I have my coffee. I'm breathing. I'm sitting up straight.
It's a good sign, isn't it?
Sometimes I have to use various devices to straighten me up.
It's a whole Rube Goldberg thing.
I just get a giant magnet and it pulls all the bolts, things that are inside my spine and my shoulder to pull me up.
That's one of the ongoing benefits of past surgery.
I got more hardware in me. I could open a hardware store.
I'd like to continue talking about your surgeries. Let's get into the entertainment business. How and when did you first get into the entertainment industry?
My mother was directing and writing plays for the Cub Scouts, and they were usually seasonal things like Thanksgiving, the Mayflower, Pilgrims, and all of that. Wasn't into it at all until I was deep into college because my emphasis was on cinematography and photography and directing.
So you gravitated towards the production side. Well, obviously, you got back into the entertainment side.
I was doing a workshop, directing workshop, and at that point, everything I had known was all visual, technical, lighting, art, camera work, editing. The guy teaching the workshop, he said, if you really want to be a successful director, you have to learn how to talk to actors. You have to understand the process. So I was in the film and radio and TV department of University of Georgia at the time. So he said, go audition for some plays, get an understanding of acting. And that's what I did. And I went back and forth throughout my life, going from the behind the camera, in front of the camera, on stage, off the stage. There was a good side to it that I learned a lot about how to direct actors, but I got sucked into acting, which distracted me for years.
Did you find that the perspective of an actor helped you as a director and vice versa?
Well, yeah, of course it does. Working on film, because I experience with shooting, editing, writing, it gave me a much better understanding of what is needed and wanted for me as an actor in front of the camera. And the more I acted, the more I had a understanding of different ways and processes and trainings that actor had that I had to learn in order to direct. I have a play of 12 actors and they all have different training. I have to have an understanding of how they all process and work.
If you could go back and tell an inexperienced actor, what was the one thing you would tell them about this business and about preparing themselves for it?
Don't do it. Don't do it. There was a period of time where I was invited back to the University of Georgia to do workshops about what it's really like in the business. And after a couple of years, they asked me not to come back anymore because I was convincing actors to leave college and move to New York or to Hollywood. 99% of what they were learning in college was a big waste of time. You've had all this different types of training, which is mostly for theater, and you have no comprehension of what's really going to happen to you. You better go into it full force. It's a 24/7 job. And you're going to have other jobs. Most people will, whether it's catering or bartending or construction or driving a cab. And a lot of actors, actresses get into things that they wish they hadn't just to make money. Later on, they regret it. Those things show up. Choices you have to make of how far you're going to go with things in order to succeed. What are you willing to do and not do to succeed? And it's not just difficult for women, it's difficult for guys too. Casting couch syndrome is real. You know, when I was dealing with it back in the 80s, early 90s, for a guy to go to the Screen Actors Guild and make a complaint was unheard of. They wouldn't believe you. That's something that you're going to deal with. And you have to, make a stand. What's my morals? Some people don't have any. They don't care. They do what they have to do to get to work.
I think that's very valuable advice. I also majored in theater, and I kind of felt the same way you did. Getting in plays was wonderful, but many of my classes were about the theory of this, the history of that. And what I really needed to prepare myself was, how do you build a resume? How do you audition? All those things that you're going to actually have to do when you get out in the real world And there was none of it.
No, I mean, I started a workshop when I was a graduate assistant for actors on how to act on camera. If you're in theater school, you don't know anything about acting on camera. You just don't. And there is a difference.
Yes, there is. Looking back, what's the most valuable training you've received?
Actually working. That's the best way to learn. The mistakes you make, the successes you have, the people you're working with. I learned more about acting during a period of time when I wasn't acting. I was doing production work. I just came off of doing summer rep, and I did Stanley and Streetcar and some other plays, Born Yesterday. And I came back to New York and I didn't have a job. And a friend of mine said, "You need some work. I need some help on this film." And it was a film that Robert Duvall was making of his own. I came in as a grip because I knew how to do that kind of work. And I was a troubleshooter, and I was making notes of the rental packages, the camera equipment, the lighting equipment, and how they were wasting money. And that spun off into becoming Duvall's right-hand guy, producer. And I traveled with him and worked with him for, I don't know how, it was quite a while. And just by talking to him and watching him work, I learned more about acting than any workshop you could possibly do.
I can well imagine. Let's segue into Santa Clarita. You live here, but you've also done theater here. When did you first start getting involved in the arts here in Santa Clarita?
I didn't get involved because I was living here about, I don't know, maybe 16 years. I don't remember, because I was working on films and TV and doing theater in town. And I didn't have time for it. It wasn't until I had hired a guy to act in a film that I was producing, Michael Ovington Austin, who at the time was working at the Kenyon Theater Guild. We sit on the set because there's a lot of downtime talking about, theater and this and that and my experiences. And then he ended up taking over running the Repertory East Playhouse. And soon after that, he asked me to come in and direct and do some acting there. And that was around 2007.
What was the show, by the way, that you directed?
I think was Betty's Summer Vacation by one of my favorite playwrights, Christopher Durang. I actually did a workshop with Durang in New York back in '86, where I got to direct scenes that he wrote, work with him and learn the right way to direct his material. So, Michael, I guess you remember that. The rep was doing two different types of show. The main stage with their more well-known material, and then what was called the 81 series, because the theater had 81 seats. And that was the more edgy, whether it was comedy or drama, absurdist plays. He knew that was what I preferred to do. So that's how that came about. So yeah, it was Betty's Summer Vacation.
Related to that, what would you like to see happen in theater in Santa Clarita? Let's talk about the post-COVID experience, like the possibility of normal times again. What would you like to see happen, and how might you possibly contribute to that?
There really is one theater, and that's the Kenyon Theater Guild. I've directed a couple of shows over there. Tim Ben Boyston runs it, and I really like him. The types of shows they do are kind of more family oriented. There needs to be that, but that's not really my thing. What's happened with the rep, which is not the rep anymore, it's called the Main. The city took it over. Come in and you could put a show up, and it doesn't matter what kind of experience you have, what level you're at. And so you have one show that's with people just out of college that are very energetic, enthusiastic, but don't have the experience. They think they know a lot because they just remembered a bunch of stuff they learned in college, which is kind of useless. and then you'll have a show, directed by me or something that Nancy Lantis is putting up. And it's a whole different thing. There's just no way to build up an audience, a following, because the way it's being done, your audience is your friends and your family. You cannot build up an audience that way, because an audience has no expectations of what they're going to see from one show to the next. I wish there was another space. I would help people set that up. I have no interest in running a theater company again. I did that a long time ago. I would be interested in sharing my knowledge and directing.
You need that home-based theater. It becomes almost a subscriber-based patronage. They become loyal to whatever your vision is. That mixture of challenging scripts, well-known plays, and all that.
Yeah, we had a good run at the rep. We had a definite following. When people would come in and see the more edgy material, the 81 series, they're like, "Wait, they've never seen theater like that before." I have a very unique style, and they've never seen plays directed like that before. So we had a following for a while, but the lack of money, the lack of funding, the two guys running it, their lives had changed. They married, they had babies, they had kids. They needed more money to survive, and that was not going to give them enough money to live. But it lasted as the rep. I think about 10 or 11 years. We had a good following for a while.
I personally hope that people will come out of this wanting live entertainment again.
For the most part, people in Santa Clarita, if they want live entertainment, they're going over the hill. They're going to the Amundsen or wherever. They just don't see viable theater here in Santa Clarita. People had that understanding for a while with the rep. Canyon Theater Guild, he has his shows he does, and he has a pretty much a set audience that comes in. That's good, but there isn't a variable.
All right, well, let's get back to your career. What's the scariest or most exciting moment you've had on stage?
I don't think I've ever been scared. So those moments when you kind of forget your lines, those are always thrilling. There's no moments I could look back and go, that was the scariest, that was the most exciting. For me, the most exciting moments were probably when all the actors were clicking. We had these magical moments on stage. I've had some crazy things happen where I was acting in this theater. It was a theater in the round. The audience was right on the edge. Doing Streetcar, I had just carried Stella back in, put her down, got on top of her on this sort of makeshift bed. I feel someone touching my Now, I thought it was the actress playing Stella. I look over my shoulder and I see this guy touching my butt, being what I was like at the time that I was playing Stanley, reached around and grabbed him by the head and pulled him on the stage, which I don't recommend.
That is hands-on theater.
I was doing a kids play once. A couple of kids ran on the stage. That was fun.
What's one role that you would like to play before you leave these earthly bonds?
I'm not really acting anymore. I sort of retired, I don't know, early 2000s. I continued to work on and off through 2013. I've only done a couple of plays up here. For me to act again, it would have to be something that is challenging and not real character-y. Something that's close to myself, where I don't have to do a lot of what I call that exterior garbage. That's something I'd have to be really, really honest with what I was doing. And if it was film or TV, it had to be something that was going to make me a ton of money and make me famous so I could have more money.
Give me your favorite actor and or actress. Both.
My favorite actor was myself.
Okay.
And favorite actress, geez, I don't know. I haven't paid attention to for years. I haven't really watched. I thought Marissa Tomei was just fabulous, very underrated. She unfortunately was not the typical leading actress, which is usually someone that's blonde and blue-eyed. And she was quirky. But I think she's done amazing work. And Julia Roberts, as she's gotten older, she's really gotten better and better instead of just being that cute, sexy girl. I know a lot of people love Meryl Streep. I think she's a total bore, but that's me. As far as the actors I've admired, of course, Al Pacino, Morgan Freeman, Duvall, De Niro, Gene Hackman, people like that. That breed of actor really doesn't exist anymore. The whole, I don't know, acceptance of what's a leading man has changed drastically. And it happened several years ago to where the leading men now are really not that manly. They're softer, they're kinder, they're cute, kind of like a Tom Hanks. So that type of leading man is just not accepted anymore.
I wonder if that's cyclical, that we might see it come back around or not. I know that
I don't know. It happened sometime after 9/11. It's just that they're safer. Their personalities and the way they look is safer. I mean, a lot of what was accepted years ago for an actor to do and script dialogue is not accepted anymore. Today everybody's so worried about offending somebody. Even to, the young people that I help run the main, what's your material like? We don't want to offend anybody. I came up with, if you weren't offending somebody, you weren't doing your job, because offending somebody made somebody think, why? Oh, wow, I'm like that to my neighbor. Wow, I'm like that to someone who's a different color than me. Oh my God. Now you can't offend anybody. And how is anybody supposed to know, oh, well, if I'm going to offend that person, but this person I'm not. And tomorrow I'm going to offend this person and this person. Who's to decide that?
Right. It's a moving target, isn't it?
Yeah. Now everybody's so, it hurt my feelings.
This is kind of on a rabbit trail here, but it's what we're dealing with right now. What do you think of theater on Zoom?
I hate it. I truly hate it because it's not theater. It's not anything. It's not film acting. And most of the people that are doing it, say locally, they don't have much experience acting on camera. I'm sorry if I offend people, but it's true. They don't. And the people that are kind of directing it, most of them are coming from a theater background. So it doesn't work. So, I just feel like I'm watching people read the script that's up on the screen in front of them and giving a little bit of, oomph on this line or that line. I don't understand the point of it. I guess it gives people an opportunity to be somewhat creative. To sit there in front of a computer and read lines from a play that's written specifically for on stage, it doesn't work.
Yeah, I think the challenge in relaying that energy between actors across, the Ethernet or whatever it is
well, you can do that, but that's a different type of acting. Then now you're talking about film acting. It's a different thing.
Yeah.
You have to have that experience. You have to understand how to do that. It's different than being on stage. And it's, and some people have attempted to make it better by writing material specifically for the Zoom experience, and that works better. Mm-hmm. But to, get on there and read lines from a Shakespeare play and, kind of gravel around in some sort of emotion, it's just, I don't know. Look, people are enjoying doing it, and, more power to them.
Right. So do you prefer working in film or on stage?
I prefer to direct theater now, just because it's easier. There's less technical problems to deal with. You don't have locations. You're in one place. As far as acting goes, I'd rather act on film because for me, it's a lot easier. I have a lot of injuries. So for me to maintain myself through 6 weeks of rehearsal and the run of a play on stage is, I don't know if I could do it anymore.
Yeah. You have to assume your new priorities as we move on in life. So I understand.
Yeah. You get older, everything changes. And I think the way my energy is now, I think I'm more suited for being on camera than on stage, but I'm not pursuing it. I don't go on interviews anymore. I don't have agents anymore. So,
Brad, it's just a pleasure talking to you. I love your perspective, not only about acting but about life and your approach to the business. I think it's real world, and I think it's great advice and wisdom, especially for younger actors. So, thanks so much for spending the day with us. Once again, this is Brad Sergi that we've been interviewing, and my name is Mike Fleming. Thanks for being with us inside the Eclipse Studio.
Thank you.